Hello, so in this video I'll be going through statistics questions from IGCSE Maths. So we're given a table which shows the information of time taken by each of 100 students to solve a puzzle. And we're asked to calculate an estimate of the mean time. So let's firstly simplify it by understanding what it means when they say the mean time, the mean value. So suppose we have a data set with the values 1, 3, 8, 12, and 24. So if we wanted to calculate the mean value of this, we would firstly find the sum of these values, which is 1 plus 3 plus 8 plus 12 plus 24 over how many entries there are in the data set. So this is 1 entry, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 different numbers in the data set. So that's 5 entries. So you divide that by 5 and that will give you the mean value. So now we can apply this to we can use this logic up here, except what's different is that up here we're given a range instead of a specific number such as 1, 3, 8. So if we're given a range like this and we have to use the midpoint of each interval, the midpoint. And that's why it's asking us for an estimate, because it's an estimate. We're assuming that the midpoint is a good indicator for the interval. So we use the midpoint for each one. So let's create a new row, midpoint. So the midpoint of 0 and 10 is 5. So the way we do this is 0 plus 10 divided by 2. 0 plus 10 all over 2. That's 5. Same thing we do for this, 10 plus 15 over 2. It gives us the midpoint, 12.5. We continue, 17.5, 30, and 57.5. So now we have a midpoint. We have the midpoints of each of the intervals. But now another thing is that we are given the frequency. And this one, the frequency of each of these numbers was just 1, which means that each unique number appeared just once. But in this case, it appears with a frequency with more than once. So now, if you want to calculate the sum of values like we did here, this on top was the sum. If you want to do the same for the sum of values here, we would take the midpoint of each and multiply it by their frequency. If you can imagine, that would give the sum of this interval. And then we add it to the sum of this interval. That's why we're multiplying by the frequency. Because the midpoint occurs. Midpoint is the average of the interval. It's an indicator of of each interval. And you multiply it by the number of times it occurred. So for example, if it was t seconds, t is 5 here in this first interval as the midpoint, but it occurred 9 times, so the total is 45 seconds. So we do the same thing for all of these. Where you do the midpoint multiplied by the frequency, and you add it to the midpoint and frequencies of the other intervals. And now, similar to what we did down here, we divided by how many entries there are, which is 5, because there are 5 unique numbers. And in here, we could add up the frequency of each of these to give us how many entries there are. Or it's given to us subtly here. Or it says there are 100 students. Therefore, this will all add up to 100. If you check on a calculator, it does. So you divide all of this by 100. And that's an estimate of the mean time. So now if you put this into your calculator, you should be getting an answer of 12.5 27.625 seconds. And that is our answer. That is the mean time. 27.625. So yeah, that's all I need to know for these types of questions. I hope it was helpful. If it was, please like, share, and subscribe. And comment any other problems you'd like me to work through.